right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I am Cheska Cordero from Insightful Accountant and your host for today. Now, before we actually start, I'd like to go ahead and ask our question of the day, just as everyone's kind of coming in and settling down in front of their computers, their phones, or their tablets. Okay, so Norman, I've been getting back into reading, and I breeze by a book pretty fast. Like, I just started a book yesterday, just finished it this afternoon. Oh, well, yesterday, sorry. So I kind of want a few books or authors in my to read list. So would you recommend your top three favorite books or authors to me? And you guys in the audience can also answer if you want to.
You're talking about just regularly reading library books or technical works?
Whichever.
Oh, because I'm a
I'd love them
casual
either way.
reader, and
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoy Clive Cussler,
Okay.
David Rosenfeld,
Okay.
and there's a few others that I like. One of them I think is I can't remember exactly all the names. David Eisen, I think, was good.
Okay. So what genre would they be? Just like
It's
fiction?
just novels, fiction novels.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are they like thriller or
Not really thriller, more like drama.
got it? Okay. Got it. Because I'm a big fan of fiction, but I love like mythology wrapped ones. Those are great. I'm
Oh,
big on
okay.
those.
Well, maybe I should do then my webinar today on mythology.
Oh no, don't.
Okay.
Okay.
How
All
do I
right.
see everybody, by the way? I'm not seeing everybody.
Yeah, so we are in a webinar, so it's just the two of us who will be seeing, and everybody's actually just going to be cameras off. So it's just going to be us. They're only going
All
to be
right, I was
seeing
going to try to
us.
make it interactive.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. But they can still show up in our chat, message us in our
Okay.
chat. Okay. So again, I'm Cheska Cordera from Insightful Accountant and your host for today. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. In today's webinar, we'll be getting to really know Excel with Norman Axelman. So in this webinar, is actually a teaser for you guys for one of Norman's future webinars where you can unlock the full potential of Excel, have it do the work for you, and take your Excel skills to the next level. Now, actually, this future webinar is going to be on March 5th at 12, so you guys wait for that announcement on Insightful Accountant. And I'll have Norman introduce himself in just a little bit after I cover a few of the housekeeping items. Now, there is no CPE for this as it is just a 30-minute webinar. And if you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A panel and be specific. You don't just say, hey, what you mean? You got to ask, hey, Norman, what did you mean by you recommend these books? Because he might not get to your question right after you put it in there. Now, we will be sending you a link to the recording after the webinar, and it's also going to be up on our YouTube page within about 24 hours. So if you want to go check that out over there, along with many other webinars that we've done in the past that might be of interest to you, I will be putting that link to our YouTube channel into our chat as well. And also do not forget that we have many webinars for you this month, whether you're interested in practice management, marketing, everything tax, all things QuickBooks, or if you're interested in getting to catch Norman's webinar, Insightful Accountants got something for you. Now you can check out all of our webinars that are available to you over on our educational webinars page on our site. And do not worry, I'll also be putting that link into our chat. And have you subscribed to our newsletter? If not, join the tens of thousands of accounting professionals who rely on Insightful Accountant to keep them up to date on the news and updates impacting today's accounting professional. Now, I will be rolling out all those links throughout the webinar in case you might have missed it, so watch out for those in the chat. Well, Norman, that's actually it for me. Welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. My name is Norman Axelman, and I have been teaching computers now for over 23 years. I have 35 years general experience teaching Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor as well. And it sounds strange sometimes. People say, well, teaching computers, everybody knows how to use the computer already, especially Excel and Word, etc. Well, what I'm going to do is share my screen with you, and I'm going to very quickly show you some samples that I'm going to run through at lightning speed, but do not fret. I'm going to slow down and teach you actually a few incredible features that you can use every single day. And the first part is going to be a little bit fast, so let's get underway. I'm just sharing my screen right now, and here we go. Sample number one. This is a payroll report from ADP, a large management company was using. They could have up to 1,000 employees in column E. They had 60 or 70 different departments in column L. Every time they need to process payroll, they had to do the following. Just follow the steps. They needed to create a new sheet tab on the bottom for all 60 or 70 departments. They had to name every sheet tab with the name of every single one of those departments. They had to copy and paste every single name from column E to the right sheet tab. They're not done yet. There's 4 or 5 columns of reimbursable amounts they're billing out for in this section. They had to bring those over and put the amounts next to each person's name. They're not done yet. Based on each person's position in the company, they had to also apply a percentage they called a burden rate and bill out on top of the original amount, multiply it out through subtotals and totals. Then for accounting purposes, a general ledger code of what type of expense they're billing out for and other information on each building on every single sheet. You're talking about maybe 16 hours of work. I just did all of it in one keystroke. It went a little bit slower on Zoom. That's something that's kind of constricts the program running a little bit, but in a way it's better because you actually see it. I just created in one keystroke all 60 or 70 different sheet tabs, named them all, brought over all the names, all the amounts, all the formatting, all the subtotals and totals based on the percentage, all the general ledger codes and subtotals on the bottom, plus other information I'm putting on each sheet on the building. And all of it happens in literally 5 seconds. Again, on Zoom, it slows it down a little bit. Almost done. And there we go. About under 10 seconds, it's running in the background. And I'm going to click on any individual sheet, and there is the result. And that is pretty incredible. That is the power of Excel. You're not going to learn how to do that today, I can promise you. Okay, sample number 2. I'm going to open up. And here we go. This is a PDF price list. I converted from PDF to Excel. There's one really good program I know that does that. And it's great. Now I have everything in separate places, but I can't use this sheet. There's just too much going on. I'm going to focus on column E. If there was no quantity on any given row, there's no item. How quickly can I tell Excel to get rid of everything that I don't want? 2 seconds, I'm done. Let me just redo that because there was some other information there that I didn't want. So I am going to highlight column E and simply get rid of everything I don't want. And in 2 seconds, I've got a clean spreadsheet. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now, here I have a list of names and addresses, but this list is not very useful. You need title, you need address, city, state, and zip the name, everything on top, like normal. You need to cut and paste for hours. And I'm going to do it in one keystroke. Similar to the other program, this one's a little bit shorter, but I just moved all the information over. Done. Wait, boss doesn't like it. You see this last name, comma, first name? That's not acceptable. People will spend 3 hours cutting and pasting to separate data. Teach you how to insert this, grab this, and tell Excel to split it up. I'm done in 2 seconds. One more. The boss doesn't like this. Big capital letters, not acceptable. People will spend 3 hours of their life retyping all of the names, and I'm done in 2 seconds. It is absolutely unfathomable how many features there are available in the programs we use every single day. Word, Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, there's many features. We're going to focus on just a few of these features today on Microsoft Excel, and I'm going to teach you how to do some of them. So here we go. I'm going to close this and reopen it. And I'm going to teach you the first feature that I want to share today. Here we have a price list, as I showed you before, with quantities, unit prices, etc. I converted this from PDF to Excel, so now it is more useful, but I want to clean it up. As I mentioned, we're going to focus on column E. So I want to highlight column E. I use a shortcut because I love shortcuts. Control space highlights any given column in Excel. Control space. One more time, control space. Great, okay. Now, you are probably familiar, there is a shortcut for copy, which is Control C. There's a shortcut for find, which is Control F. There's also a shortcut for go to, which is Control G. All right. I want to go to a special place within this range of cells that I highlighted. So I click on special or spatial if you're in Oklahoma. Now there's a lot of toys to play with here. Which special place do I want to go to within that range of cells? How about blanks? So I click on blanks. I click OK. Great. Excel did us the kind favor of finding every single blank in that range of cells. All I have to do now is delete those rows, which I usually do with my keyboard because it's faster. And oh my gosh, it is that easy. Let me show you the whole feature again. So we have a price list. There's lots and lots of blanks and garbage all over the place that I don't want. I focus on column E, and I know that if there's no quantity, there's no item. So I highlight column E with Control Space. I then use Control G for Go To. I want to go to a special place within that range of cells, piece of cake, and the special place I want to go to is blanks. Click OK. Now I just have to delete those rows. Again, I can do it with the keyboard. It's faster. And bam, all done. You don't have to say bam. It works anyway. So that is an incredibly quick way to clean up data. There's another feature I'm going to share with you right now, which is somewhat related to this one. Also very practical and valuable and useful. Here we have a report. Some of you may look at it and say, hey, this looks like a QuickBooks report. Yeah, it probably was at some point. I am exported it. Now, I have here account numbers. And in between each section, I need to copy and paste the account numbers. It could be business names. It could be other information. What a pain in the neck that would be is if you had to copy and paste every single piece of data in between each section. I don't want to have to do that. So here is the feature that you can use to fill in the blanks. Starting from the first blank cell under the first piece of data, I'm simply going to highlight. I'm going to select all of the cells that I want to work with. Done. Once again, I'm going to use Control G and go to a special place called blanks, just as before. Now, Excel has found all the blanks in column A that I want to work with. Oh my gosh, Chaco's talking to everybody. He doesn't usually make that much noise. Sorry about that. So now the cells that have data are not going to be impacted by anything that I do. I'm only working with the blank cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use equals and the up arrow. That will give me the value of the cell above this cell. Okay. If I then populate every one of the blank cells with the value of the cell above, I'll get 1006 up until I get 1007. Then I'm going to get 107 until 108. But how do I populate all the cells at one time with the formula? For that, I'm going to show you just a little cute trick that works not only in Excel, but everywhere on the computer. If you hold down the Control key on your computer keyboard and click at random on any number of cells, you can highlight multiple cells at one time. You can do this anywhere on the computer, holding the Control key and clicking. Now, if I want to enter data in all these cells, instead of pressing the Enter key, I'm going to press Control Enter. OMG, that is so cool. Anything I do with Control Enter, it'll enter all that data in all those cells automatically. So now, going back to my original example, I'm going to highlight all the cells beginning from the first blank cell. And now I'm going to use Control G and tell Excel that I only want to work with the special blank cells. I'm going to use equals in the up arrow, and all you have to do now is what? Control Enter. Oh, that is so cool. I just did all the fill in the blanks. Imagine if you had 100 or 150 different sections, and you can do it all in one keystroke almost. It's just incredible. There are so many features that we can use. So I'm going to show you another feature, and it involves these phone numbers. Now, phone numbers can be put in many different ways. Some people put in dashes, some people put in parentheses, some people might put in spaces. But this is not what we want. We want consistency. So it just so happens there is a wonderful little feature wherein you could highlight any group of cells you want. And you can go to the Format Cells menu. I use a shortcut. It's Control with the number 1. Control 1 is Format Cells. I want to choose a special format. Boy, we're doing a lot of special things today, aren't we? Special blank, special format. Okay, I'm going to choose a special format for phone number. It's built in to Excel. Click OK. Now, any number you type in, all you do is type in the digits, and Excel automatically applies the formatting, which is absolutely gorgeous. And now it's all going to be consistent and lined up beautifully. Note that the formula bar shows only the digits. There's no formatting up there. That is very cool. Now, if I wanted to clean up this list, how would I do it? Well, I could highlight column E, and I can use Control 1. That's my shortcut for format, and choose special and phone number, and click OK, and nothing happens. Whoa, 1 second. Let me try that again. Control space, Control 1, special phone number. How come it's not working? The answer is simple. The special phone number format will only apply to numbers, digits. The data that we have here was entered or imported from another source with characters like dashes, if you look in the formula bar, so they're not just numbers. The Excel format cannot override that. Uh-oh. That means I've got to delete every one of these thousands and thousands of dashes. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to highlight column E. I'm going to use a shortcut for find and replace. And what am I going to find? The dash. What am I going to replace it with? Nothing, and replace all. Cool. Now, those that had dashes don't have dashes anymore. I took them away. So the special phone format is automatically applied. Okay, now what I can do is I can get rid of the parentheses the same way. You have to do them one at a time. I can replace the beginning parenthesis and then the end parenthesis. And now the only thing I'm left with is the spaces. And if I get rid of the spaces, Control H, and I can just put a space is a character. And now, guess what? I have a perfectly clean list. There are so many ways of getting work done, literally in seconds. And all you have to do is, a couple little keystrokes, maybe a couple of little clicks with the mouse, and you can accomplish 3-4 hours of work in just a few seconds. So I'll show you just one more feature, and I'm going to leave some time for some Q&A. And let's see, I'm going to show you how to split up these names as I did before. There's actually 4 different ways of splitting up data. Depending on the circumstances, one might be better than the other, and sometimes absolutely necessary because it's impossible to do it another way based on the data that you have. In this case, I have a list of names, last name, comma, first name. Boss won't accept it. So what we're going to do is insert a column so we have a place to put our last name. We're then going to select all of our names. And in the webinar that I'll be doing, I can teach a lot of these keyboard shortcuts so you can fly through this stuff and become a fanatic like me, if you'd like. I've highlighted all of my names, and I'm going to click on the menu on top for data. After clicking data, I'm going to go down to the right until I see an icon for text to columns. That's exactly what we want to do, split the text to columns. There are 2 ways of splitting the text to columns, the limited and fixed width. Fixed width is great if you have the same number of characters in every single cell. That almost never happens in the real world, so forget about it. Delimited is a fancy word. Delimiter is a fancy word for a character. Click on Next. Okay, there's 5 choices here. Which one is common to every single name in my list? There's a comma. All I have to do is hit finish, and bam, I just split up all the names in 2 seconds. You don't have to say bam, it works anyway. So one more time, how does this work? I've got a list with thousands of names. Could be anything, part numbers, maybe accounts and sub-accounts, and it has a colon in between. You need to separate them. If there is a space, you don't need to insert a column. If not, we just insert a column. So we have a space for our last name. We select all of our names. We choose data from the menu on top. We then choose text to columns. The limited is our choice for a character. We choose next. And now you choose comma. It was there because I did it just before. You could use space. You could put an other character like a colon and hit finish. And presto, you are done. So there are so many ways of getting work done that easily. And in the webinar I'll be doing in the next few weeks or so, you can learn a whole lot more in detail about so many more features, functions, formulas, how formulas really work in Excel, how to avoid the pitfalls, just so many fantastic features. People often ask me, it's like, well, how come nobody, what? Every single year for the last 35 years, new features have been coming out in new versions, but everybody always knew the old basic features, and a lot of times we're never aware of the new ones. So hopefully I will see you all on another day and go through a whole lot more features. Perhaps we can do another one on Word one day as well. And what I'd like to do now is open up the floor for questions, and I will stop sharing my screen for the moment, and I guess we can look at some questions. Cheska?
Yep. Hi. So I actually had one that came in, and I took the liberty of kind of looking that up for her. So this came in from Joan, and would you maybe know which shortcuts are used on a Mac?
Many of the shortcuts are the same, except that you use the Apple Command key instead of the Control key. So Command or the Apple key, Command key, and the letter C is copy, and Command V is paste. Command N would probably be new. Go to, I don't think works on the Mac, but you might be able to use the F5 function key.
Okay, so roughly the same, right?
Only on those. The navigation tools are not available unless you get an enhanced keyboard, because the Mac keyboard was not designed for regular work. They're missing a
Gotcha.
lot of keys that we need. And then there's certain things you simply can't do on the Mac at all in navigation. They just don't
Okay.
work.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that because I don't use a Mac myself.
Right.
So yeah. So I've been on a
Mac
Windows
apparently
my
is
whole
used more
life.
for video and music and photos and stuff
Yeah.
like that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
reason why 90% of business offices use a PC. It's more
Mm-hmm.
designed for actual business work, and in many times it's just easier and more functional.
Yeah.
So, any other questions that we have on features, functions, or formulas?
Ask Norman while you're here.
Yeah, for the next 7 minutes, all questions are answered for free.
Yeah.
You can ask about Word, Outlook, or PowerPoint, or Excel. I don't suppose you'll need to ask me any questions about QuickBooks, though. So I actually know some really cool tricks in QuickBooks. For those of
Oh,
you who are
okay.
using QuickBooks Desktop, Control Y is one of my favorites. That opens up the transaction detail on any transaction like a check or an invoice. If you want to see the back end, the actual journal entries, without having to click, it's Control letter Y, and it opens up the actual journal. You can see the debits and credits, which is very nice.
Okay.
So Q&A, I see one at the bottom here.
Yep.
Oh, that's the other webinar. So we
Yeah.
still have 6 minutes for questions. All questions, the next 6 minutes are answered for free. Oh, also, please, I do, welcome you to ask some questions. If you do ask me a question, please do not ask me a question I don't know the answer to. It's very embarrassing.
Okay. So I just want to quickly answer Joan's question. So Joan, it's going to be on March 5th. So you just gotta watch out for that on our site. So right on the educational webinars page, I'll be throwing that link up again in our chat so you can see it, but it is going to be up there in, I would say about this week. Just watch out for it. It's going to be up there. Okay, so what questions would you not want, for example, Norman?
Oh, any questions I don't know the answer to? It's really
Oh,
embarrassing. I hate when people ask me a question and it's about some
like
kind
why
of
is the
formula or
sun yellow,
something.
Norman?
I'm sorry?
Like, why is the sun yellow, Norman?
Oh, no, no, questions about Excel that I don't know the answers to. It gets really embarrassing.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you meant like absolutely no idea what it was. Okay, so we have another question from Neil, and he asked, do these control features work on older versions of Excel?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. As a matter of fact, a lot of the keyboard commands that I use only work on the older versions. On the new ones, they will work, but they work differently. Because
Oh,
Microsoft in 2007 took away all of our old menu commands that we used to use and replaced it with ribbons. It's fortunate, though, that almost all the old commands still work.
okay.
And if I can just touch a key and get done, why would I stop and reach? I'm totally about functionality. I am a total fanatic for efficiency. Why would I spend more time doing something than I need to?
Yeah. Okay, so
It's
what do you
right
mean
there, my
about
fingertips.
what do you mean by ribbons? Sorry, my
Okay,
question.
the ribbon has icons, and you can activate them with the keyboard also, but you get these funny little black boxes with letters, and they cover up the menu items.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I use the old commands instead.
gotcha.
And they're a lot
Those what
faster
those
and
are.
easier to
Okay.
use. There are
Okay.
sometimes a mouse is a better tool, granted, but for times when I want to insert rows, delete rows, I can switch between windows, I can turn filters on and off, I can pay special values. I can do everything on the keyboard in the time it takes you to blink.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
no,
it's
so
just
those what those are. I
valuable
had no
stuff.
idea those were ribbons. Okay.
And I will probably include a lot of keyboard shortcuts on the March 5th webinar because it's super important. Efficiency is key to everybody, and everybody's always stretched for time. So,
Yeah, there
and
are not enough hours in the day, right?
well, there are if you just do everything in 5 seconds,
Yeah,
then you can do whatever
you'll
else you
learn
want.
that in next webinar, right?
Well, definitely is going to be more. So, still have a few more minutes for any questions, formulas,
Okay.
features, anything, anybody?
Okay. Anybody else come up with questions or comments, suggestions?
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the show. At the
Yeah.
very least, keep in mind almost anything you ever want to do can be done literally in a matter of seconds. And it's just a matter of finding the procedures and the right tool. Sometimes Excel is not the right tool, and I actually advise people as a consultant when not to use Excel because it's overused and abused, actually. People try to make Excel work as a database, and it's a terrible mistake, and it will fail. But that's for another day. Still available? Questions? Jessica, you have any questions?
Um, right now, off the top of my
Okay,
head.
I hope the examples were clear and I tried
Yeah.
to do them slowly and repeated, so everybody can actually learn. So if you want to delete blank rows, you know how to do it now very simply. And it can work in all kinds of different applications, what kind of spreadsheets you have, or if you want to fill in data, or if you want to use a special format for phone numbers, which is very cool, or a very cool way of using the find and replace feature. So covered actually a lot of little things in a short span of time, and hopefully you'll take it home with you.
I learned a lot too myself.
I see a
Okay.
question, how much is
Yeah.
Excel being used in the workplace? I would say 90% of companies today are still using Excel. It is the best tool for keeping track of all kinds of different data, analyzing data. Even if there's proprietary software that companies use to run their company, there's always data that doesn't fit into that mold, so to speak, and you need to massage data. There's just so many, it's an infinite number of applications for Excel. There's also Google Sheets, which has made a big impact. The biggest complaint I have with Google Sheets is that I cannot use the keyboard and I am much less functional. And if I'm doing real work and I need to move around, it takes away a lot of the functionality that I have. Almost all the features are there, I think. I haven't tested all of them out. I also program Excel, as you saw before with the payroll report. I'm not sure to what level I could do that on Google Sheets because I haven't programmed that yet. But Excel, I think, is by far the best tool. So,
I
any other
agree
questions?
with what you said on Google Sheets because like I back and forth. I go back and forth between the two, and by far Excel is way better, mainly just because everything is there. Like everything you're used to is just on there. And
Yeah.
like on Sheets, of course, it's a different platform entirely. Well, roughly the same thing, but it really
Yeah.
is missing a lot of the things that you need.
I think almost all the functions and features and formulas are there. It's just not the same
It's
access. And
yeah,
again, the productivity is definitely down because I can't use the navigation tools that I normally use on
a
the
little
keyboard. Those
different.
are all
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah,
So
th
that
I
hurts. It
think
really
there's like
does.
a learning curve, right? So you kind of have to really get used to it just so you
Oh, but
can
you're always going to lose time. You'll never
yeah,
be as productive and efficient because it simply doesn't allow you to do certain things. So
yeah,
hope you all
definitely.
enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. All right then. Well, that's actually all the time we have for today. Now, guys, remember to go ahead and check our educational webinars page right on our site, just so you can watch out for the announcement of Norman's webinar where you can register and also many other webinars that might be of interest to you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.